We are live.
Hey, hi everyone. From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Greed Factory.
Why relate to his sheer perversity?
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
And tonight we are continuing our chronicle of the death of the American dream. I don't know how we're doing that, but I just like to say it. Just sounds fun.
We're living in America.
Yeah.
We're assembling our bug out bag 1 month at a time.
Bug out bag. Yeah. That's. I used to think that stuff was fascinating. Not that I ever spent any money on it, but well, I did have a lot of weapons, so. But other than that, I never really I know some guys that were into it, and I bought a giant backpack off of one of them because I just thought it was cool. It was one of those frame backpacks.
Yeah.
You know, the ones where you can carry, that's something I can do, walk slowly and carry a massive amount of weight. I cannot jog or run, but I slowly, like a mule, I can carry hundreds of pounds of gear. But it's like, yeah, we're going to carry hundreds of pounds of gear, sleep outside, and survive. It's like, oh, my fucking back's going to be killing me by the end of the first week of that. So, but then there's all these schemes, and when I read books like Collapse and all kinds of books about just the fall of civilization and how civilizations decline, and and then life after people, and I don't know what these people are going to bug out from and where they're going to bug out to, because it's there's really imperfect shows
Do you think they have a specific scenario in mind, or they just take their general anxiety and fear of the world they can't control and then just assemble their bug out?
It depends on what website you go to and who you're talking to and where they are politically that month. But I mean, there's always nuclear wars is one. That's not, most people are like, yeah, just run towards the mushroom cloud because it's going to be a pretty miserable existence. There's the economic collapse people.
Yeah, those people think the economy's going to fall apart and they need to protect their stuff because the government's not going to be there to stop anybody.
Well, they think that just everyone's going to revert to cannibalism. Because if the economy collapses, it will definitely fuck things up. But and if you live in New York City, it's not a good place to be. But if you live in the rural Midwest, there's literally food everywhere. And people, I guess if it becomes like the Hunger Games, where everyone's just trying to kill each other. But I've seen people in minor disasters and things, going without power for a week and stuff like that. I have seen that around here. And people don't typically. Now, give them a month of that with no end in sight. Oh, yeah, there'll be someone roasting on a spit. I have no doubt. But if there's kind of a Great Depression mentality where this sucks, but it's only going to get better, I just don't think that people are just going to start eating each other. They're definitely going to find ways to survive. If you've got shelter, you've got a home, unless it's in the dead of winter. If the economy collapses in Michigan between December and March, yeah, you're going to freeze to death in short order. But I don't know. And then there's the guys, the EMP guys. There's people that, all electronics will be worthless. Just anything you can imagine. There's people that have this scenario, but the only, and the fundamental flaw I see with it, I'm sure some of these guys, if they would watch this, they would point out a billion ways I'm wrong. But the things that I see being wrong with it is it's like, okay, you have a personal survival strategy for you or a small group of people, you're not accounting for the hundreds of millions of people that live in this country and will literally eat the bark off the trees as they pass through. And they will be like the zombies in Walking Dead. They'll just beat you with numbers. They don't have to be intelligent adversaries if there's hundreds and thousands of them. So I think, you know, some of that stuff seems a little fantastical. It's like, yeah, I got me a super house and generator and all that. And it's like, oh yeah, and those lights and that generator aren't going to draw people. They'll develop the hearing of like animals, and they'll hear that generator buzzing from miles away, and they'll show up. But yeah, I mean, societies are in no way immune to collapse, but I just don't think as soon as a few things go wrong, people are just going to ascend into madness. If you're really cynical and you believe that about people, and I believe some people in some places would, but I don't think that just if everyone was suddenly thrown into a scenario where there wasn't like radiation raining.
You're not giving people credit. You're just assuming they're immediate animals as soon as civilization collapses.
Yeah, people will stop if your car's in the ditch and try to pull you out in the snow on a freeway, which is stupid dangerous. But I've seen people stop and they'll push. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a lot of I'm going to express my anxiety in this plan to abandon ship, which is a selfish plan. It all goes back to the Twilight Zone episode. First guy into the bunker shoots everyone else, and he gets to live in that lonely world where he's the only one. But yeah, I think a lot of anxiety is expressed through this prepping, and it's expensive. I mean, the guys that really like go for it. Yeah, they don't put money in the bank. They're just buying ammunition and wind-up radios, and I guess they're ready. I guess it makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're trying to become the most self-reliant person they can. It's like, well, I can't control the economy, the weather, but I can control this area, this 10-foot square.
See, the thing I would stock up on is drugs, and I don't mean like the yummy drugs that everyone likes to get. It seems like everyone in the world now is using like just handfuls of, but I mean, I want to be known as Mr. Penicillin of the apocalypse. It's like, yeah, you got lots of food there and lots of whores and lots of homemade whiskey, and your finger's looking a little green. Guess what I got? Penicillin. What's that hand worth? Of course, now they say penicillin doesn't work anymore, so maybe that's not a good plan, but
maybe when the civilization collapses, some of those old germs will come back around, and then
whooping cough. Died of the rickets. I don't know. Yeah, see, that's the things I don't want to deal with. Like, functioning without a society is.
Well, I know people who design their bug out scenario completely around the zombie apocalypse.
That's realistic. That's money in the bank right there.
No, I love to like, hey, if there was a zombie apocalypse, what would I do? Like, I love to scenarioize, but like, people are like, no, this is gonna happen. Like, you need to be prepared.
Get prepped for this.
People are the enemy.
Well, yeah, my zombie apocalypse has always been go medieval. Chainmail, leather, learn how to make tannin out of acorns, and just armor up.
Yeah.
You don't need guns, you just need sharp sticks or metal rapiers, something that's a wedge that you can pull out easy. And I mean, if it's like the Walking Dead zombies, everyone's head's made out of clay, so you can you pierce a skull with such ease. And The Walking Dead, it's like skulls are made of tissue paper.
Yeah, and then that horribly disfigured brain, you just need to touch it with an object, and then it completely explodes on the inside.
Yeah.
It shuts down completely.
Stops. So, yeah, you're ready to go. Well, didn't the CDC have to put something on their website once about, hey, guys, zombies aren't real?
I think so.
Because the people were taking bath salts or whatever, and the guy ate the guy's face off in Florida or whatever. Yeah. And everyone's like, it's begun. They've kicked it off in Florida. Which we all knew. If the zombie apocalypse was going to start somewhere, it'd be Florida. But yeah, that was. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there just looking for something to believe in. And to think that George Romero always meant that as a subtext for consumerism. Now people are actually, it's taken a whole new twist. It's mutated. But yeah, the bug out prepper guys are interesting. I know several people that ardently believe in that.
Well, I love those tools that they come up with.
Oh yeah,
Just
I
those-
bought some.
Generally it's just survival tools, but like now it's just like they have this added benefit of like trying to be like survive the oncoming apocalypse.
I bought that. Remember that big machete I bought?
Yeah.
A picture of a zombie on the package. Cool looking machete.
I saw this one. I think it's called like I think it's just called the hand grenade or something like that. It's not a hand grenade. What it is, it's basically like a Swiss Army knife, but it's like made out of paracord, and so
okay.
It unfolds and it has like flint on it and stuff like that, so you can start a fire and all these different survival gear just on this all wrapped up in the thing, and it looks like a little grenade that's made out of paracord, and you just clip that onto your backpack, and then like if some shit goes wrong, it's like you got the grenade.
Yeah, I've seen that paracord. I do that paracord stuff a lot just because I think it's cool. Because I think I talked on the show how I had those steel balls for that scale model, the Trebuchet I made years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I decided I found a book about how to weave that into like a monkey's fist or whatever, but a real heavy duty one. And I used the 770 paracord, the real thick stuff. And I took one of those steel balls and I wove it into a monkey's fist. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I found out in Michigan, it's a big felony to have. That's considered a sap. So it's like, yeah, if you get caught carrying that around, it's a big problem. So I took it apart. But I can see why they would consider that, because you hit someone with that, you're going to kill them. I mean, it's like a 2 pound or a 1 pound steel ball. It's gonna do some damage. Won't do as much damage as one of my favorite YouTube videos, though, the red hot nickel ball. Have you ever seen that?
Wait, no, I can't remember. Is that the one where it's like no? I'm thinking maybe something else.
Well, the guy is in his garage. He takes a MAP gas torch and he heats a ball of solid nickel up to it's like white hot almost. And then he puts it on things like styrofoam, glass, drop it into water, engine coolant. Anyway, it's called red hot nickel ball versus, whatever. Dropped it into gasoline once, but he did that through a tube. He didn't just drop it in, because that was a pretty violent reaction. But, nickel's this hugely dense metal. So when you get that red hot and drop it in, it retains heat. It doesn't dissipate very quickly. So it's always cool to drop it in dry ice, anything crazy shit like liquid nitrogen. But yeah, if anyone has time, go to YouTube and look up red hot nickel ball. It's hours of entertainment.
But speaking of bug out bags and the apocalypse, I've been playing Fallout 4.
Oh, okay. So was that? I played it on which platform?
PC.
Someone said it was too buggy to play.
Yeah, apparently it's fucked on the other systems, but
okay, but it's good on the PC.
Yeah, well, yeah, you just beat it over the head with power, and then it works fine.
Oh, okay. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
So how is this Fallout?
I mean, it's kind of just like the other Fallout, but it looks better.
Yeah.
There's moments where it's like this game should look better, and then there's moments where like this game looks really good, and it's weird. It's a weird thing.
Huh.
I don't know what it is. There's just something about the art direction where sometimes it looks bad and sometimes it looks amazing.
I always thought those were interesting games. The story, was interesting, because my son doesn't play those, and he was asking me about them, and I said, I played one of them. I said, I really don't know what to tell you about them.
Does he play Skyrim?
Yeah, he loves Skyrim.
Okay,
his favorite game.
That's the same people. It's basically it's Skyrim with guns.
Oh, okay.
And the post-apocalypse. Yeah.
Well, because he was asking me once, I said, is it set in the 1950s? I was like, no. It's like, what was it? It's a world where they never developed microprocessors. Was that it?
No, they developed. they did it. They have a pretty good summation in the opening credits where it's they got really behind nuclear energy,
Yeah.
and then there's almost like this lasting world peace after World War II because all their problems were solved by nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started running out of resources, and then everyone started fighting each other, and then everyone launched nuclear weapons, and the world was dead.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's kind of why it has that aesthetic. I don't really know, because like in this, it's 2070 when the bombs hit again, I believe, and it looks exactly like the 1950s, but it's like 2070. So
yeah,
I think they just like that. I think they just go with that aesthetic because 1950s just goes hand in hand with nuclear paranoia.
yeah. And that's the atomic cars and duck and cover and all that nonsense.
Yeah, every car has a fucking fin on it and it's gigantic.
So what in this one they rebuilt civilization and destroyed it again?
No, it's still like everything is still destroyed, but this time around you actually start the game right before the bombs fall.
Oh, okay.
And then like there's some guy comes to your house and he says like you've been selected for the vault or whatever, and so a nuclear bomb goes off in the distance and you start running for the vault and you go down the vault and like another bomb goes off nearby and like the blast goes overhead as you like go down into the vault. But this vault, because all the vaults are special, they always have some weird thing to it. Like one vault it's entirely populated by a guy named Joe. They just clone him a bunch of times, and that's the entire vault.
Oh, okay.
So every vault was a weird experiment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're all some strange social experiment.
Yes. But so this one was like a cryogenic vault. So everyone in there, didn't like try to live down in the vault. Like they just all put them to sleep, and then like there was like security guards and stuff like that. And then depending on whoever you pick, either your husband, your wife is killed, and your baby is taken away.
Okay.
But you wake up and it's like 200 years later, and it's after the apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
So you're in the same universe as all the other Fallouts, but this time you started at the beginning when it all started.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty much the same game after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you played Fallout 3, this is very familiar. Except the shooting is way better.
Oh, they finally get that worked out.
Yeah,
kind of clunky over the shoulder firefights.
Well, you could aim down the sights in Fallout 3. It just wasn't. It didn't feel right. It didn't work well. So, but they had the vault, the VAT system, which is like where it was where they incorporated how battles worked in the original Fallout games, where you could like aim for the head and stuff like that, and there's like action points,
right? So
like you could like slow down time and like aim for someone's head, and like you get so many action points, and it like turns it into like a what do you call that, turn-based RPG at that point. So anytime you just activate VATS and it turns the game into a turn-based RPG. But this time around, the shooting works pretty nicely, so you never have to do that. It can really work to your advantage if you're in trouble. So if like, this thing's about to kill me, like put on VATS, aim for the head, fire as many shots as you can.
Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't like about Metro was the shooting system. The Metro Last Light, the shooting system was improved a lot.
Yeah.
But the first Metro was just ungodly hard because bullets were commodity.
Currency.
And you had to use them to kill the shit, and it was kind of hard to shoot shit with them.
Yep.
It's like, oh, this is the worst of everything. But in Last Light or 2032, I forget which was the last one.
Yeah, Last Light.
Played that one. Yeah, they improved that a little bit. Still hard as fuck, like unreasonably hard.
Yeah, Russians.
We've got time. It's a time game. What are you doing this week, Metro? Like how many hours? It's all fucking week. How would you describe that experience? Halo 3 on, Legendary, over and over and over. Oh yeah, I got killed here after about an hour's progress. Back to the beginning. The stories were cool. It got a little incoherent and weird, but it was still a cool idea.
Yeah.
It became fucking Roadside Picnic or Stalker. It just became another Stalker game. It's like,
it is based on like some Russian novel.
Yeah,
which I don't think they've translated here.
No,
it's interesting that we get these video games, but we don't have the novels whatsoever.
Yeah, take it from someone who's read some translated Russian sci-fi. Probably a reason they haven't, because a lot of it doesn't translate well.
Yeah,
but I think the way they view the world it's different. We're more like problem solution. They're more like problem, long period of anxiety and doubt, sort of a solution, but with its own problems. That's just how they think. It's fascinating, but it reflects in their society. It reflects in I see it in their writings, and it's like, if you're going to approach Russian cinema or Russian sci-fi, which I do enjoy, bring your patience, because you're going to be like, what? No one would make that decision on, well, just like watch the American Solaris and watch the Russian one.
Yeah.
Same story, just very different approach and style. Hey, are you going to explain that? Nope. What does that hallucination mean? It's up to you. Okay. I mean, maybe there is some deeper thing, but
every person has their own philosophy. Utilize it.
Well, the problem is like it's like with a lot of Russian sci-fi and movies and video games that I do enjoy. I kind of enjoy the aesthetic and the feel of them more than the reality of them, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's all like, oh, this is like if a bunch of guys who are this is like if Don DeLillo and Thomas Pynchon got together and decided to make a video game. It's like everything is postmodernism in Russia. This is weird. It's sort of connected in an airy intellectual way, or at least that's what we're gonna say, because this is the story we came up with. It's like we're locked into this steel frame, so we're gonna make it fit. And people observing from the outside are sort of like, okay. But I mean, at least they're in there doing it. They're trying to, make games.
Well, they also did that. There's the Witcher franchise. Is like, no, they usually
That's Polish, right?
Yeah, it's Polish.
Okay.
They actually do have some of those translated, but not all of them. But I've never seen it in bookstores. But I haven't been in a bookstore for like 7 years. So.
What store exactly is that?
Amazon. They just made one, right?
Yeah.
They just opened a bookstore.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, why? Just say they're local? Like the Whole Foods of books.
Yeah, it's a tax loophole.
Did you see when Jonathan Franzen was on Colbert and he was reading Colbert a scary bedtime story about the future of bookstores?
No.
It was like I can't remember. And, it was Jonathan Franzen and Colbert, so it was really well done. But basically, it was a riff on Little Red Riding Hood, where she goes to her independent bookstore and suddenly there's a big bad wolf behind her. And he's opened lots of low-wage distribution centers all around the U.S., to exploit writers and workers and everything. And at the end of it, Colbert pulls Franzen's latest book out of an Amazon box. He's like, "Pick this up, folks." It was pretty damn funny. But yeah, that's Amazon has a bookstore, huh? Speaking of Amazon, man, the High Castle.
Oh shit, is that out?
Next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did. Oh yeah, no, I remember. I caught up I think on 4 or 5 episodes of The Leftovers.
Oh yeah, what'd you think of that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely doing a lot more.
I wasn't completely paying attention, so I wasn't sometimes, so I didn't exactly know when, like, is this present or is this in the past? Because they did a lot of that stuff where they cut to like the past and then like you realize and they suddenly be in the future. But
yeah, well, this is set in the only town in America, I think the only town in the world that didn't have a departure.
Yeah.
And of course it's everything. It's lost. there's lost shit going on here because there's cracks in the ground with big glass plates and numbers over them. That's not explained.
Yeah.
And
it just starts off, and there's a Native American lady who has a baby, and she narrowly misses getting crushed to death, but then she dies from a snake bite, and then another one comes up, and it's like, 1,000 years later, 2,000 years later.
Yeah, it was a weird intro to the series. And then we're Battlestar Galactica, because the dead leader of the guilty remnant is talking to the what's that guy's name? That's the ex police chief of Mapleton. Yeah, she's always talking to him. They had a great conversation in there when she was saying how she followed her husband, because she was a real kind of a beat up housewife before the departure.
Yeah,
and her husband was cheating on her, and she followed him to the hotel, and this woman was shitting on him. She was like, he took a shit, or she took a shit right on him. And then her anger was, do you think he ever asked me to shit on him? It's like, that's brilliant. Justin Theroux, that's the actor. Yeah. But
Kevin is the name of the character.
Kevin Garvey. Yep. The last one, I haven't seen the one yet with Eccleston, the Reverend, and his wife, because he's convinced that his wife can talk, but she's just not.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that episode yet, so.
Yeah, I just got up to the point where who are they following? Because they start, like, each episode they kind of follow a different set of people, and then it kind of loops back around. Who are they following? Damn it, I can't remember. It ended up back where Kevin wakes up and he's in the riverbed. He's covered in mud.
He's got a rock tie or a cinder block tied around his leg.
Yeah, and then John's kid is missing, and he walks up to the car, and it's locked, so it's locked from the inside. So I think they're presuming that another departure happened. So.
Yeah, which would ruin that town.
Yeah,
that was the only place it didn't happen. So, yeah.
And people think that the water there has healing powers, and now the water's gone. So it's some shit's about to go down here.
It's about to get really bad. They're going to burn another city down.
I love the scene, and I think it's directly after the house burning down and stuff, finding the baby on the porch, and they're having this conversation as this weird put together family, and they just have this honest conversation. He's like, yeah, I've been hearing voices, and I've been waking up, and time's been disappearing from me, and they're like, that's fucked up. And then Nora Durst is like, I pay hookers to shoot me.
Yeah, probably listen to death metal. Yeah.
And then the daughter's like, do I need to admit to anything weird?
Yeah, at some point I just can't even keep up. Yeah, so that's that's it. It's up to its usual standard of weirdness.
Yeah,
for that show, it definitely has an extra dose of that.
And I've been missing out completely on Fargo season 2, and I hear it's even better than Fargo season 1.
It's pretty impressive. I've seen them all. It's there's some it's pretty. It involves a lot more people.
Yeah.
And it's really over the top. It's set in the late 70s.
Yeah.
So it's really over the top craziness. These people that are so violent and evil. It's people like this don't really exist, but it's a fun story. But the normal people in it, like the people that are kind of, the fish out of water types, even they're not very normal. But yeah, I won't ruin it for you. It's pretty interesting. It's worth watching.
Yeah. Because I remember I was all about Fargo season 1. I had that whole argument on the show. I was no, you need to watch it. It's no, but the movie is great, and this is just going to ruin it. It's no, it has nothing to do with the movie. I mean, kind of, but not. Yeah,
it's the same, similar. I'm going to watch Fargo season 1 eventually.
Yeah.
But
you pretty much just watch that one for just the strange out of nowhere things that happen, and then Billy Bob Thornton is pretty amazing in it. And it's just got that Coen brothers strangeness down pat, and just a ton of great actors too.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what this one has. A lot of great actors
Yeah.
and a pretty compelling story.
Well, they're doing that anthology thing where it's like, hey, you only have to commit to one season. Like, let's get movie actors in on this shit.
Yeah.
And I think they only do like 8 episodes a season. I don't think it's like it's not even like normal 12 episode half season things.
No. Some of them have a weird runtime though. Like the first episode was an hour and a half. And then they had hour, and then they had one that was an hour and 17 minutes.
Okay.
It's like that. It's a strange runtime.
Is that some weird like advertising consortium going on there?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I don't understand. No, there seemed to be more going on. There seemed to be things they had to string together.
This episode of Fargo season 2 brought to you commercial free by Chevy.
Yeah.
Really, Chevrolet throwing their weight behind this weird, hyper violent drama, huh?
It would be weird to have like executives of, kind of mainstay state industries like that, like not computer people. You expect them to do weird shit.
Yeah.
But like the people that run General Electric, if they got behind like just something bizarre.
Leftovers.
Like,
season 3 brought to you by 3M.
We just fund this no matter what, commercial free. Just a lot of product placement.
All our characters use 3M products exclusively.
Well, the Matrix, the second one, Reloaded,
Yeah.
was virtually an advertisement for General Motors.
Really?
If you pay attention, every vehicle on that freeway chase, except for the Ducati motorcycle, almost every car used in any main shot in that movie was a GM product, even the ones like just on the freeway.
Yeah.
So they must have paid them a boatload of money for that. Or it was just, we'll give you
Or
the
just,
cars.
yeah, just give them all the cars.
Yeah.
Hand them out as cash gifts.
Well, Harley Davidson got their biggest boost ever unintentionally from Terminator 2.
Really?
That's what made the Fat Boy like that was the bike everyone wanted.
Huh.
Which is just a soft tail cruiser. It's not even as nice as like, because mine was a Road King. That was like a step up.
Yeah.
But everyone just wanted that Fat Boy and one of those shotguns. Like, I want to do that flip reload. That's wildly dangerous, right? Because I understand that a chambered shotgun round is going to be at your head for at least, I don't know, half a second, and your hands on kind of floating around the trigger guard. Okay, if you're up for that. But yeah, that was like one of those unintentional automotive movie tie-ins that, it's like, oh, this really worked. It wasn't like Bullet, like Steve McQueen, like, Ford knew, oh, Steve McQueen's Mustang, we're going to do this awesome chase and everyone's going to want that Mustang. As a matter of fact, they made a commemorative edition of it. But some of those things are really unintentional.
Yeah.
Like Back to the Future for DeLorean. It's like, those are cool. Yeah, I haven't made those in years, but yeah.
Yeah, because then at the time they featured that, wasn't DeLorean already just like out of business and gone?
They were done.
But people thought I'm not sure why they chose that to be the time machine. Maybe they just thought it looked cool.
Because it looked futuristic and weird.
Yeah.
And it had like because it was an unpainted body.
Yeah.
That was the gull wing doors. Mercedes had done that. The kind of rear mid-engine shitty engine cars. A lot of people had Corvair was one of those. But the thing that really got you is like, there's no paint on this car. It's just finished stainless steel. It was a terrible car. There's people that have like, oh, those look so cool, and then they take them for test drives, and they're like, oh, this is, what was it? The Comedians in Cars. Was that the one?
The Jerry Seinfeld thing?
Yeah, where somebody had a DeLorean and caught fire. They had to. There's a company in Texas that makes them now.
Yeah.
But they actually put like real, like you can put badass engines in them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just an interesting car. It was an interesting concept. Made in Ireland. And I've seen the plant. I've seen videos of the plant.
I hear that plant was like archaic.
Oh, yeah. For somebody because I've actually worked in several auto plants, just watching it. I mean, even in the 80s, things were a lot different. than they are now. Now everything's kind of organized, sort of, or at least the
Well,
intention is there to be
What do you
organized.
tell me, like one of the main like horrible things about it is like nowadays they either have like the cars like on some sort of like traveling train thing that's above everybody, or they have like a pit that you could go in, but like it's just like a flat ground. Like we're building cars here.
Yeah, yeah, they've gotten away from the work pits because people tend to fall into those and break their backs. I know someone who can never work again because they were walking backwards, putting a sunroof or a moonroof in, doing their job, and they just walked. Their leg they walked right into the edge of the pit, and they smacked the back of their head, and now their arms and legs don't respond right. But so yeah, they've kind of got away from the pits. But yeah, they do the overhead stuff. But yeah, the DeLorean was just everything's kind of on a chain drag, and just like get in there and put your parts in, and it's like, oh my God. And there was really no quality control. There was no. See, the key to quality control that I've seen is you move through a zone, install your parts, and then at the end of that zone, you check while you go, which is how they do now, which really error proofs the hell out of everything. But the DeLorean, it's like once the car's put together, then, we've got these problems. And, if it's the electronic mirror isn't moving, okay, that's a quick fix. But if it's the transmission is junk, well, you've already assembled the car. Well, we're going to take it apart. And, it was there was a lot of problems with DeLorean. Because that's a crowded business. And when they don't want you in that business, they'll make sure you don't get the best engines. They'll make sure you don't get the best transmissions. And, the reason they went to Ireland was they're so desperate. It's like, you can run this place tax-free. We won't let them organize a union on you. There's all kinds of stuff that they'll do to get people into places like that, but they don't really have an automotive tradition there. Company was based out of Detroit. I mean, that's where John DeLorean came from. And they were trying to manufacture cars in Ireland, and they had, of course, huge supply chain problems and huge quality logistics problems. And yeah, startup auto companies are just not something that really happens, and unless you're
Tesla,
Elon Musk, and even they're I've heard that I hear different things. One week I'll hear like, their investors are bailing, the company's in trouble. Next week I hear like, they're going to run everyone out of business. It's like, well, which one is it? And Elon Musk will say, we're more inventive than Apple. We're better. Don't build AIs. They'll destroy the universe. Like, this guy just is all over the place with the shit he's saying. So, but, until he can make a car that costs $30,000, goes 500 miles on a charge, and can be charged up in an hour, I'm not interested in anything he has to say. I mean, I like the cool stuff that he does, but it's like, that's other toys for rich people. Make a car that a common guy can afford, and we'll listen to you, because we definitely don't need to be burning any more petroleum if we can help it. But I don't see it going anywhere in the next 15 years.
I saw some Australian guy has like a car show he does, and there's like some company in Texas. They took a Mustang, like an old like 64 Mustang or later, maybe it was a 60s Mustang, and they just made it all battery power. I think there's like two electric motors in it, and like it just has unbelievable.
Oh, it's crush your chest, probably launching power.
Yes, because it's just like 0 to everything. Like that's just how the engines work.
Oh yeah, DC direct drive motor. That's instant on power. There's no power band there. It's either in an on state or an off state. It's it doesn't have to generate RPMs to build power through a transmission. No, it's ready to go.
And I think because like actually like older Mustangs are lighter than modern cars, I think they're actually getting like a performance boost out of it, because they don't have to like upgrade the to modern standards. No.
Well, I mean, there's no safety protocols or anything. I mean, those Mustangs, I believe, are still body on frame, but that's those electric motors are fast and powerful, and just you could, if we could just invent a battery technology, we're there. I mean, if people would want, I would want one. It's no question.
Yeah.
But until that's there, I just don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to drive more than 8 hours a day. Yeah, some people do, but really it's for your typical driver. If you want to go cross country, you don't need to travel more than 8 hours a day. So if it takes an hour or 2 hours to charge it up, yeah, just charge it up overnight. Good to go again. But we're nowhere close to that. We're not even a million miles of that. So, I mean, the only thing you could do is like at work, sometimes they can swap the batteries out of the forklifts where they have one charging and it's like mine's dead and they just pull the old one out and put the new one in. It's like good to go for another 8, okay. But that's where are you going to do that? What's going to set up that system? And then you end up with what's called a battery plant, which, there's always one guy tending the battery plant and he's always, hey, did you hear Earl died? It's like, yeah, no shit. He worked around 100 batteries for 8 hours a day for 10 years.
Well, F1 has their own, it's called Formula E. It's an electric car driving league. You know how pit stops work in there? So they drive up and like you imagine like, oh, they're going to take out the battery and put a new one in. And like that'll be like how pits work in Formula E. But no, they just have another car there. The guy jumps out of the car and hops into the other one.
Oh, see, it would be cool if like instead of the guy rolling up a tire jack, he just rolls up a giant jack and just lifts the car up and then they pull the battery out. But no, they just switch cars, huh?
Yeah.
That's tough. Imagine those races sound cool though. A bunch of electric cars going around the track.
Well, that's what. Yeah, the I listened to it. The Giant Bomb has a Formula One podcast, so I'm weirdly up to date on Formula One things. So they like to be on the head of technology and stuff. So this year they dropped the engine down to a V6, and they just put a bunch of turbos on it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot more acceleration. They have lower top speed, but they also sound not nearly as deafening as the previous engines. And now people are complaining about like, I don't want to hear after I'm done watching a race.
What? Yeah, nothing like a V10 at 10,000 RPMs. That'll wake you up.
So
it's
now,
like those Formula One shifts. They shift and it's like boom, big fireball shoots out the back.
So now they're going to add something to the exhaust system where it'll make it sound louder when it actually isn't.
Oh, they're gonna put like echo chambers in there to increase the sound.
Yeah, something like, I don't know.
Put glass packs on.
Straight pipe, no exhaust.
Glowing hot pipes. Speaking of cars, I had my car have its first maintenance thing today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was driving along and bing, look down, low tire pressure warning. Thought, well, maybe it's gotten colder here. Called the dealerships, like, you getting a lot of these calls? No. Okay, what should I do? Check the tire pressure, find the one that's low, bring it in. I went, bought a tire gauge, it was like $4, and one of them was 6 pounds lower. And as soon as I put the tire gauge on, I saw the nail in the bottom of it. Like, damn it, got a nail in my tire. Drove it over to the dealership. Now, remember I told you I got the warranty because of the potholes and stuff around here?
Yeah.
For the tires, which I thought was like a little expensive for every month. Boy, I'm sure glad I got that. I went in there and there was like a screw. And if it went straight in, they just plug it and pull it. But because it went in sideways, it weakened. They were worried it was going to weaken the wall.
Yeah.
All the way across. So there's like, yeah, I just put a new tire on. It's like, yeah, those are those Goodyear PR1, those like run flat tires. It's like, how much is that tire? It's like, oh, about $500. But you don't have to worry about it because you got the warranty. I was like, okay, put a whole new fucking tire on. And I was like, oh, I would have just shit my pants if they told me, yeah, we need X amount of dollars from you for your. But hey, the system worked. I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is some air pressure cold weather thing. No, it's got a nail in it. So that was good. And I went to the dealership on a Saturday, and they're like, "Yeah, come on in, we'll fix it." So,
a warranty worked out for you.
yeah, well, my plan from now on, if I can get the good mileage, is just to lease cars because nothing like those $1,200 surprise bills to really ruin the holidays for everyone.
I think the only time a warranty worked out for me is when I got the warranty for my original Xbox.
Oh yeah, we've always cashed those in.
Well, I mean, the Best Buy used to offer like a warranty for like $4. It's like, we're just raking in the dough. People are just giving us money. These things aren't going to break.
And they had to sue Microsoft.
Yeah, and then then like it was like the original Xbox. This was like no red rings or anything like that. There's just the original Xbox, and like the DV drive was fucking up, and it's like, well, I got this warranty. I'm gonna take it in. They tested it out. I was like, yeah, just go pick out a new system. Like this thing's fucked. And then like, so we're bringing it back up there, and like, because the Xbox had dropped like almost like $150 in price, it's like suddenly I have $150 to spend because they replaced my Xbox when it was cheaper at the time. So I get 2 games, a new controller, and all that shit.
Yeah, we had that happen to us before.
And I only spent like $4 on the warranty. It's like that worked out. Now they charge you like something like $80 for it, like crazy. It's like
it's like the Verizon warranty where you pay for it a little each month and it's prorated and it's yeah, we don't.
I'll just fuck it. I'll just buy a new. If my game system breaks, I'll just buy a new one.
Yeah.
Or or look on the internet and see what weird electronic stuff I can do with it first before it'll fall apart.
About the only things I'll warranty now in electronics is my main computer and my iPads, because those tend to have. I usually. I'm buying 3 now, so every couple of years we all get a new one, and usually I'll cash 2 of those in. Something will happen, no physical damage, and oh, by the way, I'm getting the new iPad for Christmas, the giant one.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Well, those kind of purchases you got to plan ahead.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to put some money back to get that one, but.
Why is this hole in our banking account?
Yeah, I went to the store and looked at it. I was like, "This is fucking cool," because there was nobody there, so I really got to play with it. And so I put they had HD movies on it, and it's like, "Oh, this sounds really cool." It doesn't weigh that much.
So what's the thing with it? It's just bigger.
It's just huge, and you can do the split landscape. Like I could Skype with you, surf the internet. Play an app and do something else in each quadrant of the screen.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like it
turns into 4 cell phones.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, I just like that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But that's always been a downside about tablets and phones and stuff. It's like I want to do this thing and this thing at the same time, but it won't let me.
Yeah, no, it's pretty powerful. It's no replacement for a computer, but it's for what I need to do. Because I brought in one of our shows and put it on there. And I was like, "Can I edit this in GarageBand?" Oh no, how big is the file? So I just put one on there, and it took it. So I could do our shows. I don't think I could do this on there. Maybe I could, but. So yeah, that's what Stacy's like. Well, if that's what you want for Christmas, yeah, I guess I do. Plus, we can trade in our other iPads.
Oh yeah.
So actually, I might sell them at work. See what happens.
Give them a good home.
Yeah, free to a good home. Well, they're just minis.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna really have a change of. I'm not just gonna go from back to an iPad Air. I'm just going to go right to the Pro. So,
just call it iPad Pro?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it has a lot of. It comes with Adobe, some kind of Adobe thing, and you can get the little pencil that goes with it, the Apple Pencil.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can do, which I'm not going to do, but I'm just going to, watch things on it and pretty much do what I do with my iPad now. Use my iPad quite a bit. Use it to make a roast tonight. It's very well received by all.
Thanks, Internet.
Thank you, Internet. Had a wonderful roast. I learned about coarse kosher salt how to properly glaze onions, all kinds of. It was a great recipe. It turned out wonderful.
Huh.
There's pictures of it on Facebook.
Where'd you get the recipe from?
The Pioneer Woman.
Huh.
She's on Food Network.
Oh, okay.
So, and I've seen her do her show, and I like a lot of her techniques. So, I used olive oil to sear the roast, though. She was like, "You can use butter." I was like, "I'm pretty big right now. Let's put butter on my fat steak." Oh.
Every once in a while, there's a recipe that pops up on Reddit, and I don't know where they're getting it from. Like, it's pretty much the same place, and they explain a recipe in like 30 seconds, and they always look awesome.
Yeah,
there's like somewhere they buy like they take like a roll of like Play-Doh biscuits, and like they take that and they roll it out, and they put mozzarella and pepperoni inside of it, and they bowl it up into a ball, and then they sprinkle more like cheese on top of that, and they put that in the oven for like 20 minutes, and it comes out, and they have like, and it's like a pepperoni pizza ball thing, and like it looked awesome.
That does sound awesome. That's weird. Huh. Yeah. Sometimes those internet things are pretty good.
And then they had
there's one about making cheesecake yourself. Really involved, though.
Wait, well, I don't know what I got to say. There's one that they had where they did pizza, and something they did which I've never seen before, because I always said like you put toppings on the dough, you make the dough, you put toppings on the dough, and then you put the whole thing in the oven. Here they put the dough in the oven first, brought it back out, put the toppings on, and then cooked it again. It was, I don't know.
Well, using biscuit material or dough, like bread dough?
I think it was just bread dough. I mean, I think it was like some sort of, something you picked up at the store, but. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I don't know. Like, it seemed to have like the cheese was more. Like, I think they had like they put some toppings on, but I think they put the cheese on last and kind of like baked it, so it was like so it was like the cheese wasn't overcooked, so it was more like like cheesy.
More white than brown.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
The other internet thing I remember one time is a guy, I think it's called like the $1,200 hamburger, where the guy went through like the entire process of like growing lettuce and tomatoes and like getting a cow and butchering it and like making bread, and then and, like all the steps that went involved into like making this hamburger. He did, it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, that'd be good though.
And then he eats it and he's like, "That's all right."
Okay. It's not what I expected. Trying to think what the most expensive thing I ever cooked off the internet was. I don't know. I did something with like ribeyes and asparagus, and it was like a searing technique, where you basically seared it before you even put it on the grill. Like you seared it in a pan in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And I made some like asparagus and a salad. Went through this whole process, and by the time it was over, it's like, you're like $150 in this meal for 3 people. It's like, man, it tastes pretty good. If we went and bought this somewhere, we'd have more than $150 in it.
It's like that dessert that, fuck, can't remember his name. David Cross talks about, where it's like some restaurant where they serve you like ice cream with like 24 karat gold sprinkled on top of it.
Yeah, it sounds like something they do.
Yeah,
in New York.
And it costs, and it's it's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's just like, I have money to spend.
That nice, tasty gold.
Nothing tastes better than gold. Nothing better than crapping out gold later. Oh, what was I still like the thing Anthony Bourdain. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was like a baby bird cooked in butter.
Yeah.
And you eat it under a shroud so God doesn't see your decadence. It was something from Italy, yeah.
I thought that was France, or
It could be. Yeah.
I think it's like Qua or something like that.
Yeah, I just like the whole thing of eating it under a shroud so God doesn't see you.
Yeah,
That's a nice touch.
They featured that on an episode of Hannibal, of course.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And of course they don't have the shroud, and he's like, it's like, shouldn't we have a shroud? And he's like, no, all our business is before God.
Very open here. Honest about what we're doing.
I still haven't seen the end of that yet. Because I was able to just watch the first 2 seasons on Amazon, but then the 3rd season was ongoing, like why they were canceled. It's like, well, we already shot this, but like it wasn't available to Netflix, so I had to stream it, and there was some weird streaming things. So I got through. They did the whole Hannibal portion of Hannibal, like the book Hannibal. They went through all that, and then finally Hannibal was caught, and so they just started on the Red Dragon part.
Oh, okay.
So they did Hannibal first, and then they started doing Red Dragon.
Did you hear that Prometheus 2 has a new name now? Another new name?
What's that?
Alien Covenant.
Okay.
It was going to be Alien Paradise Lost, which is like, I think he's just fucking with people.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like it's legitimate. Oh, speaking of which, yeah, there's been another terrible, terrible tragedy this week in France. Terrorists attacked Paris and killed, what is it to now, 120 people?
I thought it was like 100. Yeah. I thought it was more than that, but.
Well, at one point it said 180, but I think they revised it.
Well, I read something that said like 80 people were killed in the bombing, and then the other people were shot.
Yeah, and this is I think they're taking this a little harder even than the Charlie Hebdo thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they, I don't know. I mean, when you got a guy like, the socialist president of France, what's his name? Francois Hollande is how they say it. To us, it looks like Francois Holland. But when he goes from being like this kind of socialist, like, we want to help people, to we will drink your blood, when you piss a guy off like that, yeah, you're fucked. Weird thing about France, though, is they have a lot of violent crime there already. And they have a lot of terrorism there, not to this scale. But they have a lot of very violent crime there.
Well, there's been a weird, like the French government and the Muslims there. There's been a weird clash of I don't know what, but
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I've heard that because remember they had those riots in Paris in like 2010.
Yeah,
like half the city was on fire, and I know they have those weird ghettos where it's like that's where almost 90% of the crime that happens in France happens in, what do they call them, the protected zones, or they have a name for them.
Something vaguely sci-fi.
Priority security zones.
Yep, that sounds like
District 17 or whatever. Yeah,
that's
those
your
movies.
That's your dystopian future.
Yeah. Well, they have 17 of them, and almost all the violent crime in France happens in the crime rate is virtually non-existent anywhere else in that country.
Well, we have to hold the Hunger Games in one area.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's like their murder rate is like 1.0 per 100,000. Ours is like 17.0 per. I mean, of course, we have a lot more people, but it's like when you look down their crime statistics, they're pretty low. But then they have the security, or what do they call them? Priority security zones in France, which are basically where all the foreigners go. And then they have the crazy heat diamond robberies and stuff that happen once a year. Because remember those people that stole what was the last big thing that got stolen in France?
Some art got stolen?
There was some art, but it was crazy violent. It wasn't like cat burglars. It was guys that showed up with crew served machine guns and rocket launchers and stole. It was like heat, but it happened in Paris. And Yeah, that's so they have a weird kind of crime there. This is terrorism though. This is everyone's problem.
Yeah.
This isn't just a French thing. But yeah, they definitely had this as a bad one. And I don't know where it's gonna go. And then ISIS claims credit for all this stuff. But then you listen to other people and they're like, well, because it's just like the thing in the plane that got brought down. I guess they're saying that's a bomb now. I always thought it was the bad plane maintenance, but it's like ISIS claims that, ISIS claims this, but it's like, are they really doing all this, or is this just little groups, or I don't know.
The one's idle speculation I heard is like this couldn't be ISIS. It was too well coordinated.
Yeah. That's
it had to be Al Qaeda.
It is it's Al Qaeda. That's back. Now how I wonder, do those groups are they different? Do they have a different philosophy?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think they have different origins.
Yeah.
Because isn't ISIS more Syrian based or?
Yeah, it's Syrian and Iraqi.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. Like Al Qaeda seems almost more philosophical than ISIS. ISIS is more like, because ISIS is just like there's going to be a global what do they call that? The caliphate that's going to run the world, and they have their own song, right?
No.
Have you heard the ISIS song?
No.
Yeah, this is what they play when they behead people, though. They actually play that. Now, the NSA is just tuned into this podcast, by the way. But this is the song they play. It's called a nasheed, which is like a religious song or whatever. So, yeah, whenever you watch those horrible ISIS videos where they're doing just like put a guy in a cage and light him on fire, they'll play that at the credits. Like, this video brought to you by... they have their own website and everything.
Yeah.
It gets shut down a lot, but
yeah,
they still have it.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder who's doing that. But yeah, this is definitely put them on the map now. I mean, they already were, but if they can really be, see the thing with this stuff though is it doesn't seem centralized. This just seems like groups. Like, this isn't like there's no ISIS high command, this is all that leaderless resistance stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like the French could be like, oh, we go bomb the fuck out of this city and we'll solve this problem. We'll get our blood for our blood, and then the ISIS will stop. Because it seems like these people just pop up. And I mean, there's obviously some organization here, but I don't know if it wasn't coordinated. Like 9/11 was coordinated. Like, they had groups of people. They had the crazies that were going to fly the planes. They had finance guys. They had transport guys. They had all that stuff. This seems more like it's like 3 people from Belgium and a couple French nationals. And I don't know if they got instructions through the internet on what to do, or I'm not sure what this means. I don't think anyone knows. I don't even think the people who are supposed to know. So... They did send their anti-terror.
Let's say about terrorism, their objective is to create terror. So,
yeah, they're not really organized.
It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to generate publicity.
Come on, terrorists. Where's your A to B structure? Where's your diagrams to the head guy? It's.
Even Lenin had a guide.
Yeah, he left a book behind that everyone ignored and basically turned the country into a giant gulag. But, the French did activate they sent their what's that called? The GIGN group into the
whatever Counter-Strike person.
Yeah. Well, it was actually, I recognized it from, is like, oh, that's from Counter-Strike. It's, but they're the people who went into the theater or wherever the venue was. I guess they're the best in the world at that. The French are, when it comes to sending guys in and not killing everyone.
And didn't they have a movie about like when they took over an airplane or something like that?
Yeah, that was the Munich. Yeah, that was the one in Munich. No, that was a different one. Or maybe it was. I'm not sure.
So I remember seeing the trailer for that movie, and it's like, oh, they're doing some plane hijack movie, and then it's all in French. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, well, they're used to that over there. They have a lot more experience with that. It's not like when remember when the Chechens took that theater over in Russia?
Yeah.
And the Russians like, we have the secret gas, and all this gas, and they killed like half the people. It's like, oops, that didn't work out too well.
That's Russia. What do you expect?
Some will live, some will die. We do what we can. Look what God has done to us. But the French seem to have a little more on the ball. I think their anti-terrorist unit, like only 5% of the people that try out make it through, because they use revolvers. Like they have their own little twist. They use 357 Magnum revolvers.
All right. Well,
I don't know why, but
down.
Yeah, that'll put somebody down.
Never jam.
That's probably it right there. Is they don't jam.
That's just, I always remember that from Ghost in the Shells. There's the one guy, everybody else has like a gun that holds like 50 rounds, and he just has his revolver. And it's like, revolver will never jam. Yeah, but it can't hold 50 rounds.
The Pope has declared this the Third World War. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah.
That seems like a ominous phrase.
Yeah, from the Pope. Isn't like
welcome to the end.
Yeah, they're trying to get everyone into the churches. They'll do anything. And then, of course, the far right nationalist party in France they're gonna rise to power. Have you ever heard about that party? They're basically like the French Republicans. That one lady, what's her name? Marine Le Pen runs it. They already have 25% of the government there. Yeah, they're the close the borders. France is for French people. Everyone else get the fuck out.
They just did.
Well, no, I mean they mean like permanently. Yeah, they're like close the mosques and expel all the foreigners, and that's like their platform. It's not like Donald Trump, like, well, I'm just going to say this crazy shit. It's like, oh no, these people have plans. Yeah, Marine Le Pen. So, yeah, she's declared war on Islamic fundamentalism, said the French must annihilate it. They might do it this time.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, everyone gets upset, but yeah.
That's the thing about the leaderless organizations. It's like, all right, where do we go? Where do we put all our firepower? It's like, we don't really have that kind of accurate information at this moment.
Well, when you don't have information, what you do have are thermonuclear warheads. And if you pour enough of those into the Middle East,
they'll just open up the ground where all that oil is.
Yeah.
It's not genocide if you're mining.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, what do you call that? It's exploitation. But that's yeah.
You said you had some things on it, or was that, or you just want?
Oh no, I was just some missives.
Okay.
On just how much more of this shit are we going to put up with as a world?
It seems to be in France. It seems to be a yearly occurrence there. So don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Thing is, though, that's gonna happen in a lot more places.
But I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, I expect, but it just seems weird that either the incidents in the other parts of Europe are less known, or they're just more vibrant in France. I don't know, but you figure, like, why is this just kind of just happening in France and not in the rest of Europe? As you know,
well, France has always struck me as kind of an open society in some ways. Like in Germany, I don't know if you could. I mean, you could do this kind of shit, but I don't know if you could get it together before the German, government would notice it.
France just lets you be a little openly crazy before they realize you're actually crazy.
Well, I don't know. It just seems to be more of an open society, and like the UK.
He said death
I mean,
to the government again. I wonder if he means it this time.
yeah. And the UK, I mean, we know they love their security services, so.
A guy has a baguette. You better shoot him at least 8 times.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just this is just a horrible
I mean, I
trend
don't know.
we have.
That could just be how the news is distributing it. Maybe there's other incidences all over Europe. I just don't have any recollection of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
You never hear anything out of Germany or what's the terrorism like in Poland, or how about Czechoslovakia? Or no, what is that now? God damn it!
Yes, Czechoslovakia is
Is it
still.
still there? Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about Yugoslavia. Yeah, they broke up. Yeah. Terrorism in Eastern Europe doesn't seem to be those guys seem to be like they would take care of business. Because I mean, who immigrates to Poland?
Yeah.
It seems to be like Western Europe is where they all want to go. And I think, and the sad thing is, like 99% of them just want to open shops and not live in places where their daughters get castrated and they get hands chopped off if they don't, follow the religious police. That's what most of those people want.
Yeah.
But then you've got the people that they want to come to a country and just hate it, which I don't get. It's like, you can leave. There's no one keeping you there. If you want to go try that caliphate thing, there's a place between Syria and Iraq where they're trying it. And it's hard to keep the machetes sharp because they're chopping off so many heads. So if that's your fantasy land, go for it. But these people, they fervently believe like they can impose this on the West. They think, well, we're just going to scare them. they're going to come around to it. I really think they believe that. Well, they have to, because otherwise their actions make no sense.
Yeah.
So they truly believe that, and I don't know. And you don't break that chain. I don't know how you change beliefs. There aren't enough prisons, and there aren't enough guards for the prisons. Even if you could figure out exactly who all the bad guys, even if you could figure out exactly who all the people were that were going to do this, you couldn't put them all in prison. There just aren't enough prisons. There's so many, and not everyone's willing to go blow themselves up, but there's a lot of people that are willing to support that. Not everyone's willing to go into a restaurant with an AK-47 and just open up on a crowd, but there are people willing to drive the car for the guy to go do that. And that's the problem. You've got the lunatics, it's got the 1% of people out there, but then you've got the other bunch of people that are willing to support that. And that's where you have to break the chain. The true crazies, the true believers, you're never going to stop them. But you got to stop the people that are going to let them sleep in their basement and that are going to go to their temples or whatever they go to and just talk about this shit like it's rational. There is a place in the world where that dominates, where that kind of culture and belief dominates, and you can go there.
But it's not fanaticism if I'm not imposing my will on the rest of the world like I'm a shitty college student.
Yeah. Just an angry, disaffected. I do like how some of the French even now are being smartasses, though. Especially some of the stuff about Americans and their prayers. It's like, no, don't send your prayers. We have enough religion here. This has led to the problem. we don't want your prayers. We just want to live a happy life. It's kind of funny. The French are even snarky when there's bodies on the ground. So, video games.
More?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've been playing video games.
Yeah, I've played some video games. I played some more Metal Gear Solid. I'm fine with that game, or Metal Gear 5, yeah. I'm fine with that game. There's so much to do. I'm having trouble figuring it all out.
Yeah.
It's like, I can do this or I can do that.
Yeah, it's an open world game. I mean, you really don't have to do all that side stuff. It just kind of, you
It was interesting to see what I can do, or if I can get better at hiding from people.
Yeah.
So that's
Don't forget to use that box.
Oh yeah, I did. Well, I use the parachute thing a lot now.
Yeah.
The plane pickup.
Yeah, the Fulton system.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yep.
And that's a real thing too.
Yeah.
Not
It doesn't quite work like that, but
yeah, it's not really used that much in the real world, but it's out there.
I mean, that's like all of Hideo Kojima's, like all the Metal Gear stuff. There's always stuff in there where you have to actually like people will just like on face value who don't get into this weird stuff will just be like, "Oh, that's not real." It's like, no, he did his homework. That thing exists somewhere. It just probably just doesn't exist to the extent, but it's based on something real.
Yeah, it's a real thing. The follow through not quite so dramatic and effective in the real world, but yeah, it works.
I mean, at some point you can upgrade the Fulton balloon to it turns into a wormhole. It's like, okay, that doesn't exist, but
yeah, yeah.
Because then you can
thought jerking someone off the ground from a plane was weird enough. Now we're going to open a hole in the space-time continuum to transfer prisoners.
Because that's because if you have to Fulton somebody and they're in a building, you have to take them outside and then Fulton them. But when you have the wormhole one, you just Fulton them inside the building.
Actually got a guy up on a roof once and did it, but it alerted people. It's like, oh shit, they must have heard me.
Have you upgraded to the point where you can hijack vehicles with it?
No,
that's the best thing. Like you have to fight a tank, and instead of fighting the tank, you just attach a balloon to it.
That would save a lot of time. What if they could really do that?
I doubt you could lift like
a tank
tons.
with a detachable. Yeah.
Some on your person just inflates with some hydrogen. But yeah, it's and you also get all the guys inside the tank, like in your at your base too. So it's like not only do you get a tank, you get the guys in it too.
Yeah, it's a funny idea. Did that for a little bit, and then Grayson wanted me to play Halo 5, so I played through the solo campaign of that.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. I the thing with I always like the Covenant.
Yeah,
because there's like movement and strategy there. The thing with the Prometheans is it's just like, oh, this is just a race to the bottom of your clip. Okay, here we go. And because your melee attacks aren't as effective on those guys, your Spartan slam, what I call the Hulk smash, you're just opening yourself up to get killed. It's like, oh, we're just put plenty of guns around to fight the Prometheans, but you're just running around grabbing guns.
Well, you have to like shoot them, and then their weak point opens up, or you just have to shoot their weak point. But yeah, there's a different strategy to getting them.
Yeah,
I think the giant bomb guys were talking about, and I think they had a similar thing about you're talking about, where it's like the Covenant, like they have to like bring people in a drop ship, and like they have to be deployed places where it's like the Prometheans, they just appear out of nowhere. Like they just appear and disappear like for no reason.
Well, the thing I always liked about Halo, especially this game, is like you just send your guys to the obvious place and then you flank when it's the Covenant. And then it's like, oh, this is over. It was cool to see how, can I do this with 5 shots? Yeah, I can get right behind the guys. And but yeah, the Prometheans, it's when it's all that run and gun, especially when you're fighting like the Eternity Wardens and stuff. It's like, well, this is just run and gun. I mean, it's a test of like reflex, but it's not really. After a while, it gets repetitive. It's like, I know I can outrun this guy this way, jump here, bounce across the thing. Oh, here comes this fucking sword. Bounce out of the way and just shoot the whole time. And it gets repetitive. I found a lot of repetitiveness in this Halo game that I didn't find in some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's much more like focused is not the word I want to use, but it's more focused and less meandering, which is kind of what I liked about the original Halo.
Yeah.
Like especially that one level where they drop you off on the drop ship and you're on the beach and you fight your way, and then at some point you get a vehicle and then you're just driving around the island and like running into guys and hopping on the back using the machine gun. Like it just gives you this, you have the ability to just kind of screw around and kind of see the game. Whereas this, it's kind of like, here's the corridor. It's a very pretty corridor, and occasionally we give you a space in which to use a vehicle. But I mean,
yeah. See, for me, the best Halo would be like Scorpion tank and just wave after wave of enemies, just funneled into a narrow corridor. You do that for hours, but you don't get a lot of that.
But I mean, but also the shooting is probably the best it's been.
It's tight. It has to be.
Yeah.
Because you got to aim under the armpits for the knights, and the other guys you got to hit in the face, and the wardens you got to shoot them in the back. And
yeah,
I did like when the warden showed up and you had the tank. It's like, well, this is over for it. I mean, that guy was literally getting sucked into that ball before he even finished his speech. It's like, yeah, that's how it should go. I like that a lot better.
But I also like when Halo started, like, remember the targeting reticle in the original Halo? It was like a giant circle in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, your kill radius was huge.
Yeah,
you had like a shotgun kill radius with a pistol. It was just like this giant circle of death.
And that they designed it that way just because they figured people, because you're using a controller rather than a mouse and keyboard, it's like, oh, people aren't going to be as accurate. But like now people are pretty good at playing first-person shooters with controllers, so now they like now it's really tight circles now at times, and aim down the sights with this one.
Yeah, this one had the most of the aiming down the sights I've ever seen in a Halo.
Yeah, they don't.
You can sight with any gun, I think.
Yeah, because the other games it was like the sniper rifle and the pistol had a zoom in, and then like maybe one other gun.
Yeah,
and even Halo 4, like only a couple of guns had aim down sights. This, like, everything had aim down sights in this one. And you have those little retro boosters when you aim down the sights when you're jumping. Those are pretty nice.
Yeah, the boosters were cool. I mean, everything was cool. It had a good aesthetic, but if I could find the one thing that stuck out as unappealing was the Promethean battles, because there was little strategy to them.
Yeah,
it's just back up, wait for him to come in. The AI was pretty good. But yeah, that was I still like the God pistol from Halo 1. Just you zoom that in, aim at anything's head, one shot.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever repowered the pistol that way.
No, I think they've done some stuff. Well, they have a multiplayer mode. I think it's called SWAT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually done with pistols. Sometimes you get the battle rifle, but it's if you shoot somebody in the body, it's like what it would normally take to kill them. If you hit them in the head, it's an instant kill.
Oh, okay.
So that feels more like the Halo 1 pistol that way.
Yeah, I like that Halo 1 pistol.
Well, that's also the Halo 1 pistol. Like, you got like 8 rounds to the whole game, so you might as well have it kill anything if you shot it.
Yeah, that was the problem with it. My favorite skull is Bottomless Clip with that one. You play it on Legendary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. It was a good revisit. Me and Grayson are both getting Battlefront when that comes out.
Excited for that?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try Xbox Live with that one.
Okay.
Me and Grayson will play it together over live, and he'll get frustrated with me. So he got frustrated with me on Halo because I didn't know how to use the map navigation. It's like, which way am I going? He's like, Dad, your teammates are going to think you're retarded. Well, I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
Yeah, sometimes those games, it doesn't really matter what your skill is. If you don't have map knowledge, then you're pretty much dead.
Yeah.
It's like, where am I? I'm dead. Where am I? I'm dead.
Yeah, and some of those Halo games, they have a lot of repetitive scenery.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get lost.
Yeah.
Especially this one. This one had a lot of that. It was a good-looking game, but...
Well, they did have some, in some of the multiplayer modes, they had these arenas that kind of look like Tron. So I think it's helpful to, like, identify areas. Because, like, oh, it's this area. Because it basically looks like, an older, brighter looking old school first person shooter. So, and all those old school first person shooters had pretty simple designs, and you weren't being distracted by, all the artifacts they put in there to make it look like it's a real lived in world.
Like the weird flowers and mushrooms. Mushrooms of Halo.
Here's a rack of tools.
Each one is separate and unique. This is a sonic screwdriver. All right. Well, do we have anything else for this week?
Oh, shit, do we?
Probably, but
well.
We'll think about it. Get back to you next week. All right. Well, anyway, this week for the American Greed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
This is Conlon. Goodbye, America.